Florida State loses running back commit 4-star Byron Louis, flips from the Seminoles to the Gators. The trend only continues while the Florida Gators are hot at the moment.
They took both the Lewises.
I know, man. The Lewises are gone.
They took Byron Louis and they took Daniel Pierre-Louis.
I know, man. I think Napier's got a thing for Lewis's. But, yeah, this is number 17th ranked running back in the 2025 class, 5'11", 200 pounds. Rushed for 1,100 yards this last season, 11 touchdowns on the ground, 17 passes for 229 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground from the American Heritage young back. Interested to get your take on this one, D. Lou, because I'm seeing all this chatter on Twitter, and I think people just want to get mad at everybody. Which, when you go 2-9 like they're at right now, it does allow for some extra criticism. But some people, I think, going after Coach Yak. Yes, this is his room. Yes, you don't want to lose commits, and you definitely don't want to lose one flipping over to the Florida Gators. But, brother, Coach Yak's the least worry for me. I think people are going a little too far in this. But still, nonetheless, yeah, they lose running back commit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to come out and just call out Coach Yak, but, I mean, this is a pretty big loss for Florida State. Now 0 running backs committed in the 2025 class. I don't really think that they have a lot of traction with any other running backs ahead of the early signing period. Maybe they're able to pull out some kind of last-second miracle with Chroma, a guy who they've been involved with for quite some time. But just with the outcome of the season, I don't know that that's a very likely scenario for Florida State. So, I mean, this is a big one, especially because Lewis decided to flip over to a Florida class, and he's now the 3rd running back commit for the Gators. I mean, he could have been the sole signee at the position in Tribe 25, and, obviously decided to go over there and join Tremel Jones Jr. and Daniel Pierre-Louis. Now 3 FSU commits or former FSU commits have flipped to the Gators in about the last 2 weeks or so. So they're kind of going, stealing some guys out of Florida State's class here, just with a week to go before the early signing period opens. So it's disappointing because, I mean, Lewis was one of Florida State's top commitments in this class. I think you mentioned his season stats at American Heritage. He had a pretty good senior year, and he's someone that Florida State obviously invested a lot of time into to land in this class, one of their top targets, regardless of position, in 2025. And to have another guy, which I think we just talked about it last week or the week before, how there's so many recruits over the years that have left this coaching staff, at the altar, essentially, right there between that period where they're expected to sign with Florida State, during the early signing period, leading up to it, whatever you have it. Once again, you've got another talented recruit hopping off the board, and it's a little bit worse because he's going right over there to join your rival.
Yeah, no, it certainly stinks. Stinks. The good thing about at least the current state, not in the recruiting class, but Florida State do have some studs there in the running back room, and a lot that you do like in there. But still, nonetheless, though, you would like to bring in reoccurring talent in that running back room.
Yeah, I mean,
because Florida State utilizes them too, because you usually see two running backs, maybe 3, and sometimes on Saturdays. It kind of is a rotation. And Mike Norvell's class is not just where one guy kind of carries the load for a full year or 2 years. This is a heavy amount of rotation that runs in that backfield in this offense.
Yeah, and I mean, as you've seen, a true freshman, if they're able to pick up the offense, I mean, they're not going to be afraid to put you out there. Obviously, Florida State, they've gotten a heavy dose of Cam Davis this season when he's been healthy. Seen a little bit of Mekhi Danzy out there. Samuel Singleton seeing more time in his second year with the program. But, I mean, the reality is, Lawrence Toafili's last game is on Saturday. Roydell Williams, he's going to be able to redshirt, but I'm not sure that it's a certainty that he necessarily returns to Florida State. And then Jalen Lucas, very dynamic athlete, but we're going to have to see how he recovers from that leg injury. So, I mean, right now you're talking about It seems like Isaiah Holmes has another year of eligibility. We'll see if he decides to, stick around, or if he decides to test the transfer waters to search for a larger role somewhere. Cam Davis and Mackay will be entering their second year. You'll have Singleton going into his third year. But, the reality is I don't think that you necessarily have a single, proven guy right now. You still have to see more out of all those guys who are expected to return to your running back room. So there's certainly a spot for an elite high school recruit or someone for the transfer portal to come in and make an impact.